Hello guys, welcome to the Edupedia world. Today we'll study about Java language building blocks. This tutorial is in continuation of previous tutorial where we studied about Java language building blocks, Java tokens, and we studied about 5 categories of Java tokens, and we covered 2 categories out of them, that was identifier and keywords. Now, in this tutorial, we are going to cover the third category, that is literals. Let's study literals. All values that we write in a program are literals. Each belongs to one of Java's 4 primitive types. So these primitive types are int, double, boolean, char, or belongs to special reference type called string. So each literals belong to one of either 4 categories or of type string. The value of any type written in a Java program is called literal, and each written literal belongs in or is said to have exactly one type. So whatever value that you are writing for a particular variable name having a particular data type, so that value is called as literal. So this is an example of literal. It is stating the type of literal, that is int, and the example given for int type of literal is 1. Then other is double. So 3.14 is a double. Then boolean, the value is true. And then we have char. In char, you can see the literal value that we are giving is 3 in the single quotes. So for char, just make sure everything has to be in a single quote. If it's in a single quote, then it will become a char literal. Then string, in which we have written a string in a double quote. For example, CMUID. So it's written in a double quote. If it's double quote, then it's a string. Then we have null. So null can be given to any reference type. So any object can have a value of null, or even a string can also have a value of null. So now let's study all these types of literals. Okay, so we are having about 6 types of literals: int, double, boolean, char, string, and null. Okay, so these are categories. Now let's see each one of them one by one. Firstly, int literal. The literal of the primitive type int represent countable, discrete quantities, value with no fraction nor decimal places possible or necessary. We can specify the EBNF of int literal as this formation. So in this formation, you can see it's include non-zero digits from 1 to 9. Then it also included 0 digit, and then it is also having decimal numerals. It is also having integer literal, which can be a decimal numeral, an octal numeral, or a hexadecimal numeral. So this EBNF specifies only decimal base literal. In Java, literal can be also written in octal base, that is 8. In hexadecimal, that is base 16. Okay, so I have omitted EBNF rules of forming these kind of numbers just to decrease the complexity, because we will have to use base 10 exclusively. So, about, you can say 90% of the times you'll be using base 10. Thus, the rules shown above are correct but not complete. So, you need to include base 8 and base 16, octal and hexadecimal also. So some of the examples with the base 10 literals are like 100, 999, and etc. So this was about the int literal. Uh, and it also states that by the EBNF rules above, note that the symbol 015 does not look like a legal integer literal. It is certainly not a decimal numeral because it starts with 0, but in fact it is a octal numeral. whose EBNF we have not covered, but it is a octal-numeral, so it is a part of int literal. So never start an integer literal with 0 unless its value is 0, because starting with a 0 in Java signifies literal is being written as octal. Okay. So writing 015 refers to an octal value whose decimal value will be 13. So writing a leading 0 in an integer can get you very confused about what you said to computers. So just make sure whether you want to say 1515 or 015, because 015 will be taken as an octal literal and will be treated as a value 13. So just make sure about using octal or a hexadecimal literals. Okay, so the next category is double literal. The literals of the primitive type double represents measurable quantities like real number in mathematics. They can represent fraction and numbers with decimal places. We can specify the EBNF for a double literal in Java as, so this is the EBNF representation where you can see you can use a exponential notation using small e. Okay, then there's an exponent part, exponent indicator, plus minus, and then a floating point literal. So this is a EBNF form. Let's see. The EBNF specifies a floating point literal to contain various combination of a decimal point and exponent, so long as one or both are present. If neither is present, then literal must be classified as an int literal. The exponent indicator, capital E or small e, should be read to mean times 10 raised to the power of. So if you are good with maths, then you must be knowing the meaning of exponent in maths. So it means something times 10 raised to the power of. All double literal must be written in base 10. Okay. So unlike int literals, they cannot be written in octal or hexadecimal. They need to be in a base 10. Like literals of type int, all double literals are non-negative. Okay. Although they may contain negative exponents, using capital E or small e means we can specify very large or very small value easily using, for example, 3.518e plus 15 is actually equivalent to 3.518 times 10 raised to the power of 15. So this is the number that actually means, but you can simply write using double literal this whole value as 3.518e plus 15, and 3.518e minus 15 is equivalent to 3.518 times 10 raised to the power of minus 15, or this particular value. In fact, any literal with an exponent part is a double, so even writing 1e3 is equivalent to writing 1.e3, which are both equivalent to writing 1000. Note, this does not mean int literal 1000. It will still means double literal. Okay. Okay. So now coming to Boolean literal. Literal of primitive type Boolean represents on or off, or yes or no, present or absent, or simply true or false. There are only two values of this primitive type, so these are true and false according to ENBF rule. Example of a variable declaration with Boolean literal is Boolean b equals to true, where Boolean is a data type, b is a variable name, equal to is a assignment operator, and true is a literal, that is assigned a value to b. Okay, now coming to the fourth category, which is Char literal. So char is first type of text literal. So everything we have seen by now in double and integer contains numbers, and in Boolean it contains true and false. But char is the first type of a text literal. So literals of this primitive type represent exactly one character inside single quotes. So according to EBNF rule, you can see it can contain a single character inside a single quote character. So it can include escape sequence, space, or a character. So, over here, the middle option is a space between single quotes. Example are capital X in single quote, or small x in single quote, or a question mark sign, or simply a space in single quote, or a escape sequence. So slash n is a escape sequence which is used for next line. So all these are char literal. So just simple way to learn is anything inside a single quote and having a single character is a char literal. Okay, now coming to string literal. The second type of text literal is a string. The literal of this reference type, the only one in this bunch, it is not a primitive type. Okay, so string is not a primitive type. Whether I'll say it's an object type because string is a predefined class in a Java. Okay, so it can represent either 0, 1 or more characters, and it's always written in double quotes. So example are this is a escape character for like a new line, again a new line character, then enter your SSN. So this is written in double quotes. It is having multiple sequence of characters, so it is a string. Okay, or simply capital X in double quotes is also a string, which is different from char because it is in double quotes, not in a single quote. Or capital X in double quotes. So over here, this X is a string. Note, it is not a char because it is in double quotes. So anything in double quotes is a string. It's not a character. So this was about a string literal. So, okay. Now earlier we talked about some of the escape sequence which can be used in string or a char literal. So let's study what kind of escape sequence are available in Java. Okay, so we are having a slash n which is for new line. Then we have slash t which is a horizontal tab. So horizontal tab will give you a tab space. Then we have vertical tab, backspace, carriage return, form, feed, bell, and so on. So you can see the list of these escape sequence and can try using it in your Java program. This would be really helpful. So the common ones that are used are slash n and slash t. Slash n is used to go to a new line and then slash t is used to give a tab spacing. Okay, moving forward. Okay, the last literal is null. Well, null is also a type of literal. So this is very simple and special kind of literal that is used in Java and it having a special meaning. So it can be assigned to any reference type. So, any object can be having a value as null, or even string literal can be having a value as null. So, actually, null means it is not defined any particular value, it is a null reference. So, a null reference is something that, in memory, it is not kind of consuming the object because if I have defined a reference with a class name and my object name equals to null, then that means the object is not yet initialized. It will only be initialized when I will use new keyword with it. So that's why this null is having a very special meaning in Java. Okay guys, so this was a literal Java token. I hope you have understood it. It was quite simple to understand. Now we'll cover the remaining two other tokens in next tutorial. So thank you for now.